side. So I would try and keep you
there
on my southpaw side. So it's these little movements. This is my defensive hand.
So is this because I'm southpaw? Would I like being on this side too?
I think you will find that you'll prefer to be on your orthodox because you're going to use your weaker hand to control the wheel and your stronger hand with this. But that's down to personal preference.
Yeah.
So everybody who does this has to be a switch hitter.
Oh yeah.
Which is why it's really good for coordination, and it becomes a functional exercise rather than just the sport itself, and that's why I think it lends itself really well to disability.
Yeah.
I've just been down here at the VIP gym where you've been repping the VIP gloves because you've been working closely with VIP's boxing equipment man, Danny Wright.
Yeah. Danny's been supporting me now for over a year. Came over and visited the gym actually about May last year. I'd been using my coach's old VIP competition gloves, and I found that they grip the wheels really, really well. So I contacted Danny just to see if they still sold them, and he invited me over and said, "What is it you're doing? This sounds really interesting." And from then he supported me with
Well, then what is it that
gloves.
you're doing? It's wheelchair boxing, but for anyone who's disabled.
Yeah, so this is
no restrictions.
Absolutely, this is for everybody. It's adaptive boxing, primarily in a wheelchair. But yeah, this is suitable for anybody who wouldn't be able to box standing up. So whether that be somebody with sciatica, arthritis, all the way up to a quadriplegic, people like myself that's post-injury, post-surgery, failed surgery.
Well, let's get to them then. How did you end up in... Because you're not in a wheelchair, you use a stick majority of the time.
Yeah, that's right. So primarily I move around with crutches, but I've got a really mild form of hip dysplasia, and about 4 years ago I had a surgery on my right hip, and unfortunately it failed, and it left me with nerve damage in my right leg. And a few months after that, a further diagnosis of degenerative disc disease was given, and that meant that the discs in my back were pushing on the nerves that run into my legs, causing a chronic pain condition. And so understanding that was going to be degenerative.
That means it's only going to get worse?
In theory, yeah. From that point, for me, it was about looking at ways that I could try and prevent that, keep myself as strong and fit as possible, and I found adaptive boxing.
And we were talking because you were demonstrating with Rhiannon, who's a professional fighter, got a very good core herself, and she was struggling.
It's been an amazing and really eye-opening experience. I've had so much fun, and I'm absolutely useless at boxing in a wheelchair. It's really technical, like my core is killing now. And I've learned so much, and I've met some really amazing people and heard like really great stories, and hopefully I'm going to try and get Mia Moss in on one of the Zoom classes, so something to look forward to. But it's been a really, really great experience and an amazing day.
She was struggling with the exercises, the skipping, just the manoeuvring of the chair. It's strange. I'm sat in the chair here now. I even went over on it, didn't I?
You're upright. You're upright this time.
But it's ridiculously hard on your shoulders and your upper body.
Yeah. Phenomenal workout for the upper body. A lot of core control. A lot of work on the shoulders. But for the majority of people who do this sport, we use our upper body for day-to-day activities as it is. So it becomes a functional exercise. Aside from boxing itself, this really starts to build core mobility, stability, muscle mass, conditioning. So it becomes functional for day-to-day life.
I liked it when I was asking you about boxing. You said you're going back to basics, because boxing is about hitting and not being hit. And that's what you're trying to promote. It's the skill level of boxing, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is about bringing boxing back to its roots. It's not about blood on the canvas. It's not about knockouts. This is about ring craft, showing how well we can move these chairs, catching these shots, defending away from the head, not absorbing and just covering up, showing what we can do, showing this is the art form that we've all known and love. And I think adaptive boxing really lends itself well to that.
You've got to travel across the world with this sport at present, haven't you? Because the WBC are heavily involved with you, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the WBC and Scott Welsh at WBC Cares UK who were the driving force behind this.
Scott Welsh was a former heavyweight champion of Britain.
Correct. Yeah. Scott. He's been life-changing for me and for our whole community. He saw some adaptive boxing on an SAS show a few years ago. Fell in love with what he saw, but was just a little bit worried that it was a bit too heavy, a bit too many headshots. And so he came away, started to work with myself and a few other boxers as well, and started to develop the safer adaptive boxing. And going back to what I was just saying about sort of defending away from the head, catching these shots, countering, defence and counter, move, use the wheels, show that ring craft. And so from that, he took a small team of us, myself, Chris Middleton, who's also an ambassador for WBC, along with myself.
It was a TV show, SAS. Chris Middleton, is that? Oh no, that's Ann Middleton, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's trying to be clever there, isn't it?
So Chris Middleton, former military personnel, he lost his legs in Afghanistan after an IED explosion, and it was him and myself who were taken out to Mexico with Scott to the World Boxing Council convention last year, and we launched WBC Safer Adaptive Boxing just right there with 1,500 delegates, 90 world champions past and present.
And they've all got behind you, haven't they?
It's been phenomenal, honestly. The response that we got from that day was beyond any of our wildest dreams. It really was, and I think that's been the driving force behind bringing this back to the UK. And
so going forward, where do you want this sport to be then?
We want this to be recognised in the Paralympics, Invictus Games, and should be empowering for everybody. So right from community classes, no contact, enjoying the benefits of the sport, all the way up to those competitive levels.
And how can people get involved in?
So contact us at WBC Cares UK.
Well, I can put this information running through the video then.
Perfect, yeah. So please just contact myself, Luiz Faye, Scott Welsh, at WBC Cares UK, and we will get you on board. So we're running online classes, so they're accessible for everybody. We've got a huge community from the USA involved, and that's all kind of stemmed through lockdown. So the more the merrier. Like I said, this is for everyone.
We had your friend here, I'm sorry.
Rox.
And Rox, you've been doing online classes with her?
Yeah, so she's been with us for 5 months. So
I've only been with you since June.
Oh, wow. Is it June?
Yeah, June
wow.
27th.
Okay, so coming up to 3 months. Coming up to 3 months. Well, that makes what you've achieved even more amazing. So Rox had never boxed before.
Well, she has been involved in a lot of sport though, hasn't she?
Yeah. Huge advocate for parasports, all the way through childhood and into adulthood. She's trained in coaching different sports herself as well. So I had that background. And when she came on board with the adaptive classes, it just started off to be a little bit of fun, a little bit of fitness, and from there on in, 5 days a week, this girl's training, coming out with some fantastic combinations, working the defence, and what that's done, I hope you don't mind me saying, Rox, for her physical and mental health throughout lockdown has been amazing. Certainly reported increased core mobility, stability, really nice control.
So even if you don't want to
coordination.
compete in this sport, it's brilliant exercise in just general fitness.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a lot of traditional boxers that will jump on and do our seated workout.
We've seen Rhiannon and her boyfriend, I think, training the skipping ropes, and how hard it was.
Yeah.
But you know what, that made me laugh, because I thinking, how are you going to jump with in this chair? I didn't realise, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, so we use split ropes to skip, just the same as every other boxer. So we can do our 3 2-minute rounds of skipping for warm up before we get into the shadow
I want to do
boxing.
3 2 minutes, and then that looked painful.
Yeah, most traditional boxers will say, no, I'll stand back up and I'll do my own way.
Well, listen, Louise, it's been a pleasure. It's really been eye-opening watching you here with Rhiannon, and very enjoyable, and I now got a new appreciation for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's been a really great day.
No, my pleasure. Take care.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.